welcome exceptional women to the Trailblazers Business Podcast for Women, your go-to spot to receive the real about being a boss. I am your host, Dr. Michelle S. Thomas, multiple minority business owner and proud founder CEO of the Exceptional Woman Enterprise. Each episode will give you valuable insights on building the confidence you need to succeed. Sit back, relax, and let's learn to be loud and proud about what we bring to this world of business.
3, 2, 1, yeah!
Welcome back, ladies, to the Trailblazers Business Podcast for Women. In today's episode, we are going to touch on the rise of women in business, especially over the past few years. COVID taught us a lot of things about our employment, our goals, what our non negotiables were. And during that time, even though it was a very trying and testing time for a lot of us, especially for those who lost loved ones. Um, in the interim of the country shutting down, the one thing that women learned was that it was possible. For 50 to 100 years, since women have been in the workforce, there have been a lot of conversations about the inability for us to work from home. There was this antiquated requirement for us to punch a clock and show up for work from 9 to 5 or 3 to 11 or whatever our shift was. And the innuendo or the tone that was delivered to most of us was that we had to learn how to separate business from home, right? Well, in this process, it created a lot of division between families, a lot of loss for children, a lot of breakdown in the education, and just the family bond that we so desire within our homes. Well, then along comes a pandemic. And again, this is just my personal views of what I found really eye opening during that shutdown. It felt and it seemed like to me that once the decision makers or a lot of the males that ran these companies or were the department heads of these companies, it wasn't until their wallet was drastically impacted that everyone began to develop a way for anyone and everyone to work from home. Now, granted, this was out of necessity. I get that technology has elevated, but it brings into mind the new tradition that's happening now where companies are going back to the requirement of you to come into the physical location. They are discussing productivity, they are discussing the interaction, the accountability for people within the workplace and balancing that between the numbers. Well, I give you that insight for a reason because during this shutdown, what happened to a lot of women, not just from speculation, but the numbers show that the number of women entrepreneurs increased by a astronomical number, a number that we haven't seen for hundreds of years since there was even the thought of women for the past 50 years at least of women coming into the workforce, right? 2022 alone. I use 2022 as a great gauge because not only did we get the numbers of women owned businesses that registered, but we also were able to look at the data and the economic impact of those women entrepreneurs. So in 2022, we see that on average, there was a little over 1,200 women owned businesses that launched per day, not weekly, not monthly, not yearly, but per day. Within those numbers of women owned businesses or women guided businesses and enterprises, we found that a lot of women of color were leading the way with launching new businesses. Unfortunately, what the numbers and the trends show that for us, especially for women of color, we still remain the highest percentage of business closures within our first 12 months of operation. A lot of that comes from working or trying to build a business within a ecosystem or an infrastructure that does not seem very open to receive us. Well, we'll get into that process and those ideas and concepts of what we can do to change that. But today's episode, we want to talk about the positives and the impact of the rise in women in business. To counterbalance the amount of businesses opened by women in 2022, we also saw a decline in the number of women led positions amongst the C suite levels. So we see that a lot of the return back to work process that happened post pandemic, some of those C suite positions that were held by women, where companies were working to increase their diversity as the workforce is returning, those positions, um, a lot of those positions seem to be replaced by our male counterparts. In 2019, what we saw was an estimated 3% of the C suite positions of some of the largest companies around the country being held by women leaders. And we saw a dip in that to a little under 2% in 2022. However, on the opposite side, let's go back to the rise in business with women within their own businesses. Um, by the end of 2022, the economic impact or the consumer dollars that were spent in 2022 hovered a little over $4 trillion. Amongst or out of that 4 trillion consumer dollars, we found that 1.8 to 1.9 trillion of those dollars was contributed by a woman-led or women-owned business. Why is that important for us to know? It's important because we need to understand that it is possible. It is possible for us to own a business, small business, entrepreneur, whatever you want to call your business, and still lead to a tremendous impact on the economic status, especially within the US. Once we begin to recognize the global impact or the economic impact that we can bring, We also need to take a step back and look at the access and the support systems that are given to us. So let's dig a little deeper into access and support systems. The first thing that I would be remiss if I did not point out is over the past 3 years, we have noticed a tremendous increase in the predatory like promises of instant wealth that tends to be marketed towards women entrepreneurs, especially women of color. If you open up your cell phone, if you're playing video games, if you are on your laptop, if you're looking at movies, there is some paid advertisement that will pop in eventually into your feed that promises you that they have the solution to instant success. I'm not going to judge or knock or make a any type of evaluation of these programs. But what I will say is the increase in these predatory like promises has caused a domino effect of increased failures amongst women entrepreneurs. We have to make sure that we are taking the time to really vet the source and the information that is being promised to us to see if it works for our business, our personality, and our own financial capabilities. Here's what I mean by that. If someone approaches you and tells you that you can make a certain amount of money in a certain amount of time, but it requires for you to continue to recruit new people to come into that process in order for you to continue to, or in order for you to increase your profit, hence a multi-level marketing type of tone. If you are not a salesperson, if this is not really a comfort zone for you, then the chances of you reaching the top levels, no matter who promises you that opportunity, is very minimal. You must be in that space. You know what I mean? You have to be able to be that type of driver, be that type of personality that you are always selling. If selling is uncomfortable to you, that's one level. We all can learn how to sell. But if the tone, the expectation, the pace of the company that is trying to recruit you or the person that is marketing to you is outside of your wheelhouse, your capabilities, your ability to accelerate into, then most often than not, you're going to be spending money to enter into a process that you will eventually walk away from. There are a lot of people out there that thrive in these environments. There are people with personalities that this is what they look for, and that works for them. But I'm having this conversation because I want you to really take a step back and evaluate who you are within the business world. What is it that you is your core? Um, we all have the ability to learn anything and everything. We all should be continuously learning things. But there are aspects of businesses and industries that just do not fit our personality. And you have to be okay with that. Not everyone is built equal. And don't let anyone convince you that there's something wrong with you because that's not who you are. Okay? First thing, first thing, it is imperative for you to understand your wheelhouse. What are your capabilities? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? As you explore these things, yes, there's an ability for you to work on improving these weaknesses and really accelerating and growing off of those strengths. But not if you put yourself within an industry or an environment that is not conducive to the person or the outcome that or the output that you have the ability to deliver. Okay? Sometimes we as women, as we are rising through the business ranks, we tend to um, build our businesses in someone else's shoes, which means that we've watched someone else's steps and someone else's process, and we're trying to step in those same footprints, expecting the same outcome and result for ours. Your business, no matter how someone convinces you, is directly correlated to your personality and your ability and your timing. Maybe in your world, you don't have time to recruit hundreds of people per day. If that's something that you know, then that's something you need to take into account. There's no better time than right now for women to start a business. I say this often. However, I need you to really understand that it takes more than just a website and business cards to become successful. As any opportunity that are presented, that are open out there, you want to know and recognize that just as many of those opportunities are being presented, there's almost twice as many of people that are going to take advantage of that opportunity. So, as we talk about women on the rise and our impact of what we're doing within the country, what we're doing within the world, it's an amazing thing. Women are choosing on what their lifestyle are going to be, what I'm going to do with my children, and what my choices are, and the travel and all of the growth that I choose that I want to do for myself. It's a wonderful pace. However, what we do not want to create is a bigger divide in those of us who are able to do this successfully and those that are left behind. As you're building your success, as you're learning what you're doing, then let's help that next woman to recognize. Tip number one, identify your resources. There's so many resources out there, especially for startups, um, that are available that are true resources that aren't going to nickel and dime you to death before you even get your first day started. But you have to make sure that these resources are right for you. Back to what I was saying about getting into whatever level of sales process. I apologize. This is a live recording, and I'm just going to let you know that my phone keeps ringing. I'm sorry. Um, anyway, welcome to business, ladies and gentlemen. Identify those resources. I can't tell you how many young, and I'm not saying young as an age, I mean young new entrepreneurs that I run into that have bought into the concept of someone overcharging them and gouging them for resources that are readily available to them for free. For example, I had a young lady that we talked about starting her business, and I just happened to bump into her, and her response to me was, "Hi, Dr. Michelle. Yes, I'm going to get started. I'm just trying to get the $200 together that I need to get my EIN number registered." My question to her was, "Who told you that that was a $200 cost?" And again, we're not going to name names, but this young lady had spent 4 months trying to pull resources from her own household to save up the money because this was someone that she trusted. And listen, ladies, let me just say this. Being in business is an amazing thing. And of course, you charge for your value. There are things that people need to pay for. But ethically, please don't take something that is a free source, a free resource, and try to 200% increase that so that you can make money because someone doesn't know. If you build your business upon a shaky process or a less than ethical process, that will come back eventually and damage your business one way or the other. Either by word of mouth, people are going to be able to identify that you are not providing real resources, or it's going to come back to you within someone else repeating the same action with you on a much bigger level. So identify those resources. Let's base off of what I was just talking about with the young lady. Listen, your EIN number registration is absolutely free. You go to the irs.gov, not .org, irs.gov. And not only will you know how, not only can you register your EIN, but it actually provides you step by step instructions on what you can do and need to do in order to complete the process. Registering your business with your local and your state entities may come with a very small fee. But again, these are processes that you are completely capable of initiating by yourself. If you need someone to help you, there are also organizations that are available to help walk you through the process. The Small Business Administration is always a great resource for all new entrepreneurs to go to learn how to get some of these processes going. Your local, your state, the state that you reside in, usually has a website designed specifically for business. Within that website, you will find about taxation, you'll find out about employment, you'll find out all of the necessary registrations and licensures that you'll need to operate a business within that state. The site is absolutely free. Your workforce development centers. Go to the workforce development centers. Those are usually places that people go to when they're unemployed and they're looking for jobs, but they also have resources that can help you source out the things that you need to do for your business. Number two, begin with the end in mind. My husband, his favorite book is The Seven Habits of the Highly Effective People. And every one of my kids know that this is something that he quotes from all the time. He keeps the book on the kitchen table. Um, Stephen Covey has stood the test of time. Why? Why are these simple principles, these simple seven habits, why have they transcended throughout changes and shifts in the economy and technology through generations? Why have they transcended? And it's because he talks to you in a language that explains s- the steps that in a language that you can articulate and absorb and understand. He's not trying to tout his expertise and his intellect by throwing in words and phrases and things that's going to stump you and confuse you. He's given this to you in simple language. So here's what I can say in simple, as simplistic as I can. When I say begin with the end in mind, create at least three stages of growth and then work backwards to develop the timelines, objectives, and a sustainable growth process. And that's one of the keys. It must be sustainable to you and your finances, your capabilities, and your time. How much time can you commit to this? With those three stages of growth, that those three stages may be um, your launch, and then growing your audience, and then developing revenue. Whatever the three stages that you develop it that is customizable to what your abilities are. Some people um, start their businesses while they're still working at another job. So maybe stage one for someone like that is, what is the exit plan? Stage one of building my business is getting it to a certain level so that I can create an exit plan for leaving my job. Let me also drop a little negative information for you guys. Be careful of how you exit your job, okay? Because that may end up being the very people that you need for your customer base. How you behave and how you act within your job, they're still people. Those people still know your name. And as you become more of a public figure and you're out there, then you open yourself up for people to then say negative things about you because of how you behaved around them within the job. So if you know that you want to be an entrepreneur, then let's clean that up. Let's become the professionals that you want your business to exhibit. Number three, build a community. Even before you're profitable, even before you're known on social media, begin to build your inner community. This community are going to be the people that are going to grow with your business. Always be transparent with your community. Talk to them about the ups and downs, solicit their advice, their support as you are growing this business. We tend to feel like that we have to launch out there and we have to be instant success or we have to be instant stars in order for people to follow us. That's not true. Your community are the people that believe in you. Your community means more to you than millions and millions of followers because it's that community that will support you through the ebbs and flows of your business development. Remain loyal to your community. Don't forget the ones who started with you. Always find a way to honor them, to support them, to give back to your community, and that community will remain with you as your business goes through all of the phases that it must go through in order for it to reach its level of success. And number four, I'm saying this, ladies. Don't nobody please listen. Don't judge me for this, but y'all know me. I told you this is gonna be the real. Please stop being desperate. Okay? Um, listen, your business is like your dating life. Okay? You have to be very selective over who you let into your business. The very people that you bring into your ecosystem, that you reveal things to, that you um, become a part of their system. The people that you connect with will be a direct reflection onto your own business. So don't just jump at the first thing coming, okay? Take time and trust your intuition. If something looks and feels too good to be true, then I promise you, if you take a few days to think about it and vet it, it'll still be there. But what won't still be there if you jump in immediately is the money and the loss. That's the end result because you did not properly vet this process. Okay? Nothing good comes easy at all. Everything in this business world, despite what social media or anybody else want to make you believe, it is work. It is hard work and it's every day that you commit to being a part of this work system and pouring back into your business. And number five, couples off of number four, research and then research some more. You don't have to have it all figured out, but you should at least be knowledgeable enough within your industry to remain informed and experienced, especially if you are delivering products and services to other consumers. You want to make sure that you are not only researching what happens within that industry, but what is also with your sister and your partner in industries, what's happening with them too, because that will directly affect what's going on in your business. Far too many of us decide that we want to jump out there and we want to fly before we walk. I have a friend who's a surgeon and I love her to death. She's the most amazing person. So I'm going to use this analogy. Surgeons do not operate without extensive medical schooling and residency. Being an understudy, they go through the process. But so many of us want to wake up and begin a business in industries that we've never taken the time to be mentored in, that we've never worked in, that we don't know anything about because it works for someone else. The most important thing that you can build within your business is credibility. Take the courses, humble yourself. Maybe that requires for you to intern. Maybe it requires for you to work within someone else that you looked at as an equal or a counterpart within their business so you can learn more about the ins and outs of it. I promise you, the money will come. But if you're not legitimate and you tarnish your reputation from the start, then you will have an uphill battle no matter how many degrees that you have up under your belt of gaining and regaining the trust of your community, your consumers, and your clients. I want to close with encouraging each one of you guys to really take time out to evaluate your processes and your systems that you are utilizing currently in your business. And don't be afraid to have to hit the restart. Connect with us at the Exceptional Woman Network. Connect with the local community colleges. Connect with someone that is where you want to be and not where you are to seek and get that advice. Tune in for our next episode. And listen, this is a journey and a ride for us. We are going to continue to deliver information and processes and the real about what it takes for you to continue to strive and be that woman business leader that you really want to be. Our next episode, we are going to talk about the challenges and triumphs of being a female entrepreneur. I'll see you in the next episode. Take care. Thanks for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Trailblazers Business Podcast for Women. Until next time, remember, be inspirational, be legendary, but most of all, be exceptionally you.